Hello, sir. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So, I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes and then we'll start for some people to join. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are safe at your homes and trying to maintain the lockdown. Yeah, good morning. We'll start within 2 to 3 minutes as many people are still joining. So, we'll wait for some of them to join. Yali ho. Okay, am I audible to all of you? Am I audible? Please let me know. Yali ho. Okay, so I'm audible, right? Please let me know, guys. Am I audible? Okay, so let's start with the session now. So first of all, good morning, everybody. Now let me introduce myself first. I am Deyashini Mitra and I am studying in Nirma University, BTech first year for IC engineering, also known as instrumentation and control engineering. So first, many of you may be unaware of what IC engineering is. So first let me introduce what it is or what my subject deals with. So IC engineering is nothing but basically it is dealing with automation, and here we deal with sensors and robotics, coding, all of that stuff. So anybody who is doing their bachelor's in IC engineering can pursue their higher studies or masters in robotics engineering, or say aeronautical engineering. You can deal with satellites or rockets and all those stuff. Yeah, hello, good morning everyone. Thank you. Yali ho. So yeah, so okay, speaking of myself, wherever I am today, first of all I want to thank you all the teachers who have been with me or supported me during my school time or competitive times. So moving towards today's topic, today I'm going to speak on how to succeed in competitive exams. Now, as all of you know, there are a lot of competitive exams being held in India or in any country. Say, naming a few: JEE Main and Advanced you have for your engineering entrance exams. Then you have NEET, JIPMER for your medical exams. Then you have NDA for, that is your National Defense Academy, if you want to pursue your career in defense part, you want to give your career into your country's lab, so that then you can opt for NDA exams. Then you have scholarship tests like KVPY and NTSE. NTSE you have to appear in your 10th standard. These are scholarship exams. The first 200 or 300 ranks, these students will get scholarship from government's end until you reach up till a pre-PhD level, right? So these are your scholarship entrance exams. And apart from this, if you want to go abroad, then you have your SAT, GRE, GMAT, then you have IELTS, TOEFL. All of these are your competitives. Fine. Now, first, if I talk about competitives, when we are in 10th, fine, and you decide upon your career, and you know that you want to achieve in a particular field. So what happens is, first you have to make yourself very clear, or you have to get thorough in a survey in all of the competitive exams which you have to appear in order to get into a good college for achieving your career point of view. So you should have a very thorough knowledge of all the competitive exams which you have to appear. For example, if I talk of myself, when I was in 12th, appearing for my engineering exams, so in 10th only I had to make myself very clear with all the exams I had to appear in. Fine. Now for engineering exams, you have numerous exams like VIT, EEE for VIT University, then SRM JEE for SRM University. Then you have your GUJCET, that is your state entrance exam. Then you have obviously JEE Mains and Advanced for all of the college in this country. Then you have WB, JEE, all the states conduct their own entrance exams for engineering or medical. Say WB, JEE is for West Bengal, Maharashtra has MHCET. So these are the different state exams which you have to appear in for engineering. So yeah, there are a lot of entrance exams which you have to appear. So having a clear point of view is very important for succeeding in it. Fine. Now these were the list which you have to appear. Now what happens when we are in 10th and you have to come up to 11th. There is a big phase change which is appearing. Now what are those phase change? When we are in 10th, you are just dealing with the board exams, but when you are in 11th, suddenly there is a lot of burden which is put into your shoulders. not exactly burden, but balancing all of that is becoming really difficult for all the students. So in 11th you have to deal with your board exams also and your competitive exams also, so preparing for both of them gets a bit difficult. So yeah, so this, after going through all of this, the first thing which strikes your mind is that how can I succeed in it? Fine, how can you succeed in it and have a good achievement in that particular competitive exam? Because a very large good morning Swati ma'am, good morning Yali ho. The first thing which comes into our mind or strikes our mind is how to topple all those competitors over there. And because a very large number of people appear in competitive exams every year, if I talk about JEE or your NEET, in that every year 12 to 13 lakh students appear in it every year. Now coming out from there with a decent rank of 1.5 lakh or below it can get you into a very good college. And who doesn't want it, right? Everybody wants it. So yeah, the first thing which comes into our mind is how. So today I hope after attending this session you get some clarity or you get some of your answers to that question, how. Now when I was in 12th, I have seen many people not being serious during their initial 1.5 year of those 2 years. And then in the last 6 months they start realizing what they were losing upon. Then they'll go home, they'll yali ho sir, then they'll go home and then they'll start surfing the net, how to succeed in exam, how to succeed. Then they'll start searching how do you score 250 plus in JEE main in a month. Okay, now talking about succeed, which comes from the word success, cannot have a shortcut. Okay, you have to work really hard for it, really hard. So talking about success, I have seen people slogging over, toiling hard for 4 years, because these days students they start preparing for all these competitive exams from 9th standard itself. And I've seen people working for 4 long years and still not achieving 250 plus in that particular exam. So all I want to ask is, how can a particular person achieve 250 plus in 1 month? That is technically not possible, talking about the reality. Only if you can have a very good luck, then only it can be possible. But I don't think that people like you and me will rely I'm sorry I don't think so people like you and me will rely upon our lucks for getting into a good career, right? So you have to start working hard from the very initial time. And all I want to say is that when you know that you're already late, stop wasting time like that. Fine, you cannot afford to waste your time by surfing those things which you should have done much earlier. Now it's already late. So buckle up yourself and start investing your time in something productive. Now by saying that stop wasting time, I'm not telling you that stop using your social media or stop playing your favorite games, because that is not possible at all. Because all of us want refreshments, because obviously all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All of us know it, right? So all I want to say is that, and being teenagers, all of us, most of us have developed or inculcated a knack towards the social media. थोड़ा तो scroll करना चाहिए ही हमें all the day. So all I'm saying is that if you are scrolling it for 2 hours, then minimize it to half an hour. But I repeat, but if you are using your social media or whatever refreshment you want for half an hour, make sure that after that half an hour you are not, thinking about it or getting distracted thinking about it. Because if you will completely try to remove it from your life, because after we develop a habit and achanak se if you will try to remove it from your life, then that is not possible, because thinking of not doing it will in a way make thinking you of it. So basically it will become distracting, right? And you cannot have distractions in this point of time, so that you cannot do, right? So yeah, now make a balanced timetable, because people or students generally are not able to find a perfect balance between board exams and competitive exams. Now you will ask me, how do I find a balance? So for that, first you have to understand the difference between both of it. Now, board exams carry absolute marking and your competitive exams carry relative marking. Now you may have the question that what is relative marking and what is absolute marking? So let me tell you, relative marking is, for example, I have 90 out of 120. Okay, speaking about JEE, it is of 360 marks divided in 3 subjects. Fine. So each subject is of 120 marks. For example, I scored 90 out of 120 in chemistry. Fine. Now, okay, let me tell you, 90 out of 120 is a decent score. It is a very fair score in JEE. Now, there will be 100%, 1 lakh or 2 lakh or 3 lakh of students who will get more than that, who will get more than 90. Now, when these number of students are getting more than 90, so definitely my rank is 100% going to reduce by that particular amount, by that particular 1 lakh or 2 lakh or 3 lakh students. Fine. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So that particular rank is going to be reduced. So that is where your relative marking comes into play. Now, because you did not score bad, because 90 out of 120 is not a bad score, that you did not score bad, but you scored relatively less than those students out there who had a much better rank than you. Because in competitive exams, your admissions are based upon your ranks and not your marks. But if you get 90 out of 100 in your board exams in chemistry, same subject, fine. In chemistry, that time what happens, nobody can tell you that 90 out of 100 is a bad score or a relatively bad score, because nobody is going to compare your ranks, because board exams you don't get ranks, right? It's only marks. So that is absolute marking, and this was relative marking, where your marks are dependent upon the relativeness upon the other students. Fine. Now, how do you topple those students? Speaking about my personal experience, when I was in 12th, most of us, including myself, we went to coaching classes where we were trained for these exams. So there what happens, they give you a much clearer view of the exams you have to appear in. They teach you concepts from the competitive point of view, because what happens, board exams. Okay, am I audible? Please let me know. Please comment, am I audible? Okay, so yeah, talking about boards, so what board deals with is your theory concepts, and what your competitive exam deals with is those theory concepts will be applied to your question. Fine. Now, applying those theory concepts will also, need a command over those concepts, which you can achieve by solving lots and lots of questions. When I was in 12th, my coaching teachers, they asked us to solve around 10,000 question plus, in short 10,000 plus questions in 11th and 12th before appearing for JEE. So yeah, I'm not scaring you or making you horrified, but I'm just giving you a rough number which you have to solve in order to achieve a good rank. Fine. So yeah, it requires a lot of practice. You have to solve sample papers, you have to solve previous year question papers before you attempt the real question paper. So keep your last 2 months only for solving sample papers and question paper, past year's question papers. Fine. Mock tests. Now, coming back to coaching classes, apart from making your concepts clear and having a fair grasp over the concepts and applying them, they give you time management skills, because time management is really important in any competitive exam. Fine. And how to have your presence of mind during your exam, when you are appearing for the exam, because at that time you have to keep your mind really cool, because most of us, I've seen my friends and fellow mates being so much, because either you get overconfident about your preparations in your exam, or you get horrified, stressed, demotivated in the exam hall. So you cannot do that. You have to keep the cool of your mind. At that time, presence of mind is really important. All your hard work, everything is going to be spoiled, guys, I tell you. So yeah, the coaching classes, they teach you or try to remove these hindrances. Fine. Now, regular schooling students find it a bit difficult for going to regular classroom courses. So for that, you have other options available also, like there are weekend batches only for Saturdays and Sundays, so you can opt for that also. And apart from it, you have your distance learning program, which is also known as DLP, and you have crash courses also. But crash courses is something which will just brush you up, because just imagine, crash courses are for just 2 months or max to max 3 months, and they are going to cover up your syllabus of 24 months in 3 months. So I hope you have a clear view of what is going to be done and what not to be, right? So yeah, these are the number of options which you have. Now, apart from these, fine, if I talk about me, self-study is really helpful, because whether you enroll yourself in a coaching center or not, self-study is going to be 100% needed, because not only you have to study the concept, you have to revise the concept also, and you have to apply that concept also into your question. Fine. So that is where you have to do self-study portion. You can have online aids like Byju's, then you have number of good studying channels on YouTube, so you can subscribe them also. So those are really good options for self-studying, because sometimes some things you don't get in your classes, you don't understand, and some people are shy to ask, so you can opt for these online options also. And then you can get a good DLP, distance learning program, from some class in Delhi, or Kota is really well known for this JEE and NEET things, so you can get your DLP from there, right? So that you can do for your self-study part. Now, I mentioned a term, regular schooling. So I hope, guys, you are aware of what is regular schooling and supportive schooling, because post 10th there are two options available to us. Regular schooling is a school where you have to report daily. Fine. There is compulsion of attendance. Maybe 75%, maybe 80%, and it depends on school to school. So at that time, that is your regular schooling. And the supportive schooling, if I talk about, is supportive school is somewhere where you don't have to report daily. There is no compulsion of attendance. Fine. So there you mostly there you concentrate more on your competitives. But before, after hearing this, many of us, before knowing all of the facts, before getting aware of every fact, we jump into the conclusion of getting into a supportive school. But let me make myself very clear. Supportive schools are fine, but what happens is supportive schools lead to a lacuna in your board marks. Citing an example of someone I know, that particular person fared really well in JEE, but had to reappear in boards this year again. Fine. Now, all I want to ask is, because this competitive marks are only valid for that particular year, so she has to reappear in that competitive exam also this year. Now, all I want to ask is, what was the use? Because as such, you have to appear for your boards also. You have to appear for your competitive also again. So there's no use, right? So, choose wisely. Now, the biggest challenge which we regular schooling students face is not making up enough time, or not being able to give that sufficient time which we need to give to our subjects. Fine, we have a time lacuna. Now, how to overcome these? The first thing which struck my mind, or which struck most of my friends' mind, is curtail sleep. Now, how can you curtail sleep? Because how to do it? Many of us have different preferences. I may like to study late at night. You may like to study early in the morning. Some folks have what they did, they break up their sleep into 2 or more shifts, which is known as segmented sleep these days. Fine, this is a very getting popular. This is so segmented sleep is where for example, I want to sleep for 6 hours. Look, 6 hours when you are preparing for your competitive exams is a decent number of hours for your sleep. Fine, you can function healthily. So 6 hours is more than sufficient. Now, in the segmented sleep pattern, for 6 hours, I'm going to sleep for 2 hours 3 times. Fine. When I come back from my coaching at 9 o'clock, say, fine, I come home, I get refreshing myself, I have my dinner up till 10, and then I go to sleep at 10. Fine. Then I wake up at 12. Fine, a 2-hour nap, what it does, it just relieves you from all the exhaustion of your daily course. Now, after napping up till 12, you get up, you study for 12 to 2. Then, in the night, fine. Then you get up 2 in the morning. Then you sleep 2 in the morning up till 4. Now, thank you, sir. Then you get up at 4. Then you study up till 6. Then you get ready for your school. You come back from school and have a 2-hour nap or a 1-hour nap, which gives you 5 or 6 hours of sleep. So you're having your ample sleep also. You are having, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You are having ample sleep also. You are getting enough time also for studying. So, it balances. That is again giving you a balanced timetable. Fine. Now what happens is, most of us, the first thing which I want to tell you is, keep yourself away from negative people. Because maybe you have some of your peers, your friends, to be more precise, who demotivate you, who pull you down, who bring down your focus. So that thing you cannot do, right? Because there are some people who will be right, अरे यार ये किया वो किया पर फिर भी नहीं हुआ. Because all it does is, you just get demotivated. Your self confidence, your self motivation just washes away at that time. So you cannot afford to have those kind of people in your life at that time. Then you have some of your relatives also, who are very inquisitive about you, who will come up to you and ask you, oh, what are you doing, how much are you doing, everybody expects a lot from you, so please keep doing, do this, do that. And they'll give you a number of suggestions on how to do it or do that. So all what happens is, at that moment when everybody is so concerned about you and everybody starts asking you a lot of questions, that builds up a lot of mental stress in you. And with mental stress, you become demotivated, you become anxious, you get depressed. There are so many students who get depressed at that point of time. So at that time you cannot get depressed. So you should stay away, you should keep away from those kind of people at that time. Negative aura is really bad at that point of time, and you cannot manage, or you cannot allow such people to hinder your focus, your goals. Now, talking about all of this and all of these methods, fine, when you study, the most important thing is concentration power. How to enhance your concentration power? What you can do is, you can have a distraction free environment. When I am studying, I cannot afford to have my mobile phone, especially with its notifications on of all my social media, of all the emails and things. So don't sit with your mobile phone when you are studying, at least, or switch off the notifications, so that you do not have to keep a check on your phone continuously when you are studying, because that creates a lot of distraction. So that somewhere hinders your concentration power. At that time, you have to have a distraction free environment. Break bigger tasks into smaller tasks. Say I have to study one chapter today, I have to complete all the related questions to it. So I'll study 5 topics. Okay, that chapter has maybe 15 topics. Now 5 topics I will study in the first hour. Fine. Now in that hour, I study that topic, I solve all the questions related to it, all the number of books I have for it at that particular hour. Then I take a 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes break. Then I again sit for the second hour with the next 5 topics. Then follow the same procedure, and then again take a 15-minute break, and then again sit for the third hour. And that is how 5 topics will lead you up till your all 15 topics, and there you complete your chapter. Fine. So you can break up bigger tasks into smaller tasks. Now, don't stress yourself. Instead of studying for 6 hours straight, what you should do is, you can study 3 hours in 2 shifts. Fine. I study for 3 hours, I have a half an hour break, I refresh myself, and then again I sit for 3 hours. Fine. So this is how you can enhance your concentration power. Now, these are your all the tips and tricks which you can apply to succeed in your exams. Now, apart from these, what you have to do is, you have to have good time management skills. Fine. Because what happens in competitive exams, you have many questions to attempt in a short span of time. So what happens is, before you start appearing for the exams, or when you are giving your mock exams, at that time only you build up your time managing strategy. Fine. For example, if I decide that I'm going to give one question 1.5 minutes, fine. So the moment when I'm in my exam, the moment I see that my question is exceeding 1.5 minute and it goes to 1.6 minutes, what I'll do is I'll just switch over to the next question, because you cannot have time wastage at that point of time. What happens is, most of the time what happens, you will lose on the questions which you already know, because you gave lot of time which was not required to the question you knew you can. Make sure you know the difference between this question I can solve and this question I will solve. So I will requires more time than I can solve, right? So first solve those I will questions and then come back to I can questions, because nowadays these competitive exams, these have become online. So there you have an option of flagging the question, of marking the question. So mark those questions and come back at the end when you have finished your paper, you have finished attempting those things which you know. So then you come back to your flagged or marked questions. Fine. At that time you can attempt those. You have enough time, because now you know you have attempted all those questions which you could. So now you can give good timing. Fine. Now last but not the least I want to tell is that have patience, have self-confidence, and be self-motivated. Compete with your fellow mates, but never compare, because if you will have a healthy competition within you or with your fellow mates, then you can succeed or achieve in that particular exam. But the moment you start comparing yourself with them, yaar iska hua mera kyun nahi hua, at that time you will get demotivated, and the moment you get demotivated, all your interest in that preparation just vanishes away. So stop comparing yourself. Don't compare. Have patience, because in the last 2 months or 3 months, people really lose their calm, they lose their patience. They start telling, arey yaar, 2 more months to go for my freedom, or from कि पढ़ाई से थोड़ा छुटकारा मिल जाए. But all I want to say is, first of all, don't choose a field where studying is compulsion. First of all, choose a field where you can enjoy your studying. Fine. And don't lose patience like this. Instead you say, it's just 2 months yaar, like that. See, it's the same sentence, but it is the way of you telling. It is your perspective which is leading you to that statement. Fine. So stay self-motivated, stay confident, and keep your patience. So here I conclude with my session, and please let me know if you have any questions. Any questions, anybody? You can ask me anything, any question, anything you doubt. Okay. Thank you so much for being there, and I hope you have some of your answers to some of your questions in today's session. So, yeah, here I'm taking your leave. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, here I'm taking your leave, and all I want to say is stay home and stay safe. Most importantly, stay healthy. So, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.